Hiya BookTube, Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you with a update on my reading for a Friday Reads, tell you a little bit about how my life is going and how my reading life is going. So I hope everyone has had a great week. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving yesterday, had plenty of food. I know that for most people the travel did not happen, and maybe Thanksgiving wasn't with family like usual, or at least large gatherings of family, but I hope you were able to, find ways to, with the family you have a good day and eat plenty of turkey. And I know we're gonna have a Thanksgiving meal today actually, and it didn't work out for yesterday, so we actually had a snack day yesterday. So we had my wife takes Velveeta cheese and melts it down with a can of Hormel chili and the Rotel spicy stuff, and mixes that all together, and we eat that with chips. And then she made some little smokies wrapped in bacon and covered in brown sugar. It was absolutely delicious. Maybe not the healthiest way to spend Thanksgiving, but it was absolutely delicious. But today we are going to have our classical Thanksgiving feast, and I'm going to be digging into food because I love food. Anyway, got to watch some good football yesterday. Watched the first game. I don't think I watched the second game. I think we got to play in some games. We were playing categories here at the house and having fun with that. If you've never played that game, you ought to try it. It's a word game, or they give you a letter of the alphabet and all your answers. They give you a list of 12 prompts, and you have to give an answer based on that letter. So like if they said boy's name and your letter is B, Bill. So anyway, and you got a certain amount of time to do it, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun and shows who can work under stress and who can't. And sometimes I struggle with that one when that little buzzer's going. But we had a lot of fun. And this last week I had made a bunch of tags. That was kind of my deal this week. I've made 4 or 5 tags. I can't remember how many, but that was a lot of fun doing those, trying to get caught up. I still have a ton of them to do, but just trying to get caught up on those. And I did have one thing go wrong in that last tag. The Booktuber favorites tag that I did. I got to looking through there, and I left a couple people off the list, and it was not on purpose. And I was like, oh man. So I wanted to give a little shout out to Jack the Rambling Racketer. You should have been on the list. I watch your videos very regularly. You're one of my favorites. He's a good guy. He's a teacher down in Arizona, and he's just got a great sense of humor, great personality, and I should have had him on my list. And then Brian over at Bookish, should have had you on there. I don't know why I did not. I apologize. And then the other one that I should have had on there was Jason over at Byways and Bookland. And I went to because I printed off a list of my BookTuber subscriber list, and I was kind of going through there to make the tag. And I didn't see, when I went back there, when I made the video, and then it popped in my head, oh man, you didn't include Jason. And he definitely should have been on the list because he's been one of my favorites for a long time. But I did not see his name on the list of channels. So I am wondering, did he take his channel down? And I did, just for the time being, while he was doing some of his work that he had talked about. And I did not realize he was going to do that. I knew he was not going to make videos for a while, but I didn't realize he was going to take it down. If he took it down, maybe I messed up. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't see his name on the list, and maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But he should have been on there because he's absolutely wonderful to listen to. So this week in my reading life, I've been able to do a little bit more reading because of Thanksgiving break. That was nice. And I've been doing a buddy read with Arion over at Book Zealots. And we've been reading Einstein, his Life and Universe. Thoroughly enjoying this by Walter Isaacson. It's a little bit thick. It's about 550 pages-ish, somewhere around in there, maybe 547, something like that. Anyway, and I have got it down to about 75 pages left, and so I'm pretty excited about that. Going to get this wrapped up. This was one of my nonfiction November reads. And I really like this. I think it's been great. I'm not so big on the science part of things because it's just going way over my head. I mean, Isaacson's doing a good job trying to break it down, but I'm a caveman and I don't get any of it. So, the relativity theory and all of that kind of stuff, it's just way over my head. But when he gets done with like a chapter on that, he goes into 2 or 3 or 4 chapters about what's going on in his life, and he brings in, the politics of the day and just all that kind of stuff. And I'm thoroughly enjoying that part. And Isaacson's a good writer. If you like science, you definitely need to pick this up because, of course, Einstein made science knowledge grow by leaps and bounds. And so anyway, I'd recommend that. I should be done with this probably tomorrow, and that'll be good to get that off my nonfiction November list. Next book that I've been reading on, a little bit of fiction. I was reading on this yesterday afternoon, thoroughly enjoying it, and trying to remember why I put it down. Sycamore Row. I possibly, if I get to going on this, I could get this done this weekend, depending on how fast I get going. And then I'd like to do book reviews, book chats on pretty much all these books I'm going to show. So I'd like to do that, and then I can get started on his new one for the month of December. That was kind of my reading goals for myself. But this is really good. It's about a man who he passes away, doesn't have a lot of friends, but he is loaded. He's got lots of money, and you've got like $20 million or something that's up for grabs. And he cut all his kids out of the will, and he left it to his housekeeper, who has been taking care of him. He had cancer before he committed suicide. He had cancer and was on his way to dying, and this housekeeper had done an excellent job of taking care of him. So, and his kids didn't do anything. His kids are despicable, and so he cut them all out of the will, left it all to, or 90% of it, to his housekeeper. And so now you've got hungry lawyers who are trying to saddle up with the housekeeper so they can get their cut. And it's a really interesting story, very interesting story. The lawyer, Jake Bridges, in a previous book, he had dealt with the KKK, and they had burned his house, and so now in this book, that story is still continuing to carry on. And one of the guys that was responsible for the burning of the house, who had been in prison, just got released. So that's going to put a new interesting twist into Jake Bridges' life. So look forward to working on that this weekend. Another one that I thought I possibly could get done this weekend, but now I'm kind of second guessing. I don't know that I'll get it done. Maybe it'll be this week I get it done, but still an excellent book. In the Heart of the Sea, The Tragedy of the Whale Ship Essex by Nathaniel Philbrick. Really good book. It's kind of like the true story of Moby Dick, basically. And I am to the part where the whale just rammed the ship, and the men are trying to, they're in the smaller whaling ships, and they are trying to get as much stuff off the ship as possible, because they're like over 1,000 miles out from the Galapagos Islands, out in the Pacific Ocean. They are in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, it's a pretty scary moment. I definitely would not do good. As I've shared before, I swim a little bit like a rock. And so being stuck out in the middle of the Pacific in this situation, it would be terrifying to me. A book I picked up yesterday, and I read the first couple chapters, was George Washington, The Forge of Experience, 1732 to 1775 by James Thomas Flexner. And of course, Flexner wrote this big multi-volume, I think it's 4 volumes in the series. And then he's got a single volume on Washington, The Indispensable Man, which I read earlier in the year. It was kind of a summary of all of the multi-volume series. And I read that, gave a book review on that. And I'll try to remember to leave the link to the review down in the description if you want to go check that out. But going and reading about George Washington here, and it takes you all the way up to the Revolution. So this is all of his youth. this is exactly what we just covered in class right before Thanksgiving break. And so I've been wanting to pick something up on Washington to go with my teaching, and this is perfect opportunity for that. And I like Flexner. He's a great writer. He keeps a story moving. And I read, I didn't sit there for very long, read 26 pages like right before my daughter came downstairs. It was really fast, and so I'm guessing this book will go pretty quickly. And so I'd like to maybe knock this out. And what gave me the idea to go ahead and do this, I'd been wanting to read it, but I've been watching Steve Donahue's presidential library series, where he was recommending books on all the presidents, and he had the first 4 presidents in the series done. And one of the series that he mentioned when he was talking about George Washington was the Flexner novels, and I've heard him talk about that multiple times in other videos, that this is the series to have. And so I wanted to kind of take him up on that recommendation and go ahead and read. The Indispensable Man was good. I enjoyed that, but I think I'm going to enjoy this even more because it's got more detail, more room for detail. So that's another one that I started, and I'm going to continue reading on that. And then I wanted to share with you a book. My wife, her sisters had read this book, and they gave it to her to read, and my wife said, you go ahead and read it. You'll probably get to it before I do. And so this is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, and I believe it's about somebody that goes to Alaska, and I'm not super familiar with it. I remember the title. I remember getting talked about by my sister-in-laws, and I think I remember it on BookTube too, but I'm not super familiar with it. Go ahead and tell me what you think about this book, BookTube. If you've read that, give me some thoughts down in the comments, and let me know if that's worth my time. Is it a fast read? Will I get through it fairly quickly? But anyway, it did sound kind of interesting by the little bit that I read on the flap. So anyway, that has been my reading life. I've been watching lots of videos this week. I got a little bit extra time to do that, and so I've been watching some videos. BookTube, I love your content that you throw out there. Thank you for the entertainment, and it's been a great Thanksgiving, and BookTube is one of those things that I'm super thankful for. So until next time, BookTube, have a great day. Thank you for watching my video. Happy reading.